Today's episode comes to you straight from the Foundation Insurance Services podcast studio, your home for elevating voices, inspiring leaders, and building the community one conversation at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, we'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach even higher.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jan Simon, and this season we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it.
All right, Above and Beyond Nation, we've got a special treat for you today. Normally, Jan Simon is the mastermind behind the podcast. He's the one asking the questions, but I have the unique privilege today, and I couldn't be more excited to be hosting Jan and have him in the hot seat. Whew, how we feeling?
I'm nervous. I honestly, I think I'm starting to feel like what you guys feel when you come on. I'm like,
that's right. The pressure's on. You don't know what questions we're going to ask. Nope. And I have two goals: to make you cry and to make you laugh your ass off.
Well, I probably could do both. So,
well, I certainly hope so. If I don't make you do that, I will feel like I failed here. So. All right. So be open to all the emotions. Okay?
I will allow the emotions to flow.
Please do. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I was driving over here, and I've got the windows down in the truck. Perfect weather, sun setting. I'm just vibing. Everything feels amazing.
Yeah.
I hit a red light, and I'm just looking over, kind of soaking up the surroundings. My mind's a million different places. And I look over, and I see the squirrel, like, climbing up a tree. And simultaneous to that, I'm thinking about coming down here and doing this podcast. I'm thinking about the questions I'm going to ask, how it's going to go. And I thought about how we met. And so you and I, we've run in the same circles for years, but we've never actually met until recently. Yeah. And that was through Above Par Network and Frank Sturby.
Yep.
So I had a thought come into my mind with all of those things coming around.
Okay.
And I thought it might be a great question to start the interview off. A question that most people have probably asked themselves at one point or another in life. So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
All right. Given the choice, would you rather have to fight off one Frank Sturpy-sized squirrel or 1,000 squirrel-sized Frank Sturpies?
Oh my God.
And why?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And if you have any follow-up questions, let's assume, whether it's important or not, let's assume that we know Frank has like a booming voice, right? He's not going to have the same voice as a squirrel, but let's say it's the same decibels, if that helps at all. But he sounds like one of the little chipmunk voices. All 1,000
but
of them.
Big guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I would take one Frank Sturpy size.
Really?
Because I think I could kick his ass.
What?
As long as I don't let him get on top, I'm good.
Have you seen the teeth on those things?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
No, I couldn't imagine a bunch of little.
Oh
little
yeah,
gnats.
that's true too. You're not gonna outrun them.
No.
They're good.
And with Frank, you just got to get on top, ground and pound.
Oh God, are we gonna air that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right. Get on top and
get
ground
on
and
top
pound.
of Frank, ground and pound,
Perfect,
and I'm good to go.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I appreciate you.
Now everybody's mind is in the right place.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, let's get the official podcast underway here.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you all a little bit about our guest today. Now, today's guest is not just a business owner. He's a builder of people, a connector of communities, and the driving force behind one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial platforms in the East Valley. He's the owner of Foundation Insurance Services, part of the Robertson, Ryan & Associates family, where he spent nearly 3 decades protecting businesses, guiding leaders, and helping entrepreneurs stay prepared long before problems ever show up on their doorstep. But beyond the insurance world, he's become a voice in Gilbert, literally and figuratively. As the creator and host of Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation, he's sat across from CEOs, founders, community leaders, and dreamers, helping them unpack their stories, their struggles, and the moments that shaped who they are today. His passion for storytelling, legacy, and leadership comes from a life that hasn't always been easy. He's rebuilt from rock bottom, fought through seasons that would have broken most people, and came out determined to help others rise. And trust me, you can feel that in everything he does. He's a dad, a community advocate, a relentless encourager, and one of the most authentic humans you'll meet. So please welcome the man behind the mic, the heartbeat of the Above and Beyond movement, Jan Simon.
We'll get a little applause in there.
That was way better.
Dude,
I was going to do a
that
little
was
clap
awesome.
on the mic. Man, that was way better.
You have a great voice.
Well, that's only because you got the headset on. That's going to sound different in the car.
Out in the world.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
like,
right.
I wish this guy would just shut up.
No, man, it's good to be, I guess I'm on the same side of the desk as I was last time, but, you know, a different role. We've got a Freaky Friday situation happening right now.
Flip the script.
Absolutely. So,
Flip the script.
Can you get us started off a little bit? Give us a little bit about your background, kind of how you came up, and some of your experiences getting to where you are now.
Okay, well, unpack it in a very short phrase. No, so grew up in Washington State. My dad was a teacher. My mom worked in physical therapy most of my life. She actually worked in the schools I think back then they called it special education department.
Sure.
I don't know what they call it these days.
Right.
And then I remember one day she came home and told my dad that she needed to find another job because she felt like she was starting to turn into the people she worked with, which I don't know if that was derogatory or not. But anyway, so then she started working in physical therapy as a PT aide and whatnot. But my dad was a coach, football, baseball, track and field, and then he was also a teacher, did English, history, and theater.
Wow. Did you do theater?
I did.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's dive into that real quick.
And
I
music.
actually did theater too.
Oh, did you?
I
Yes.
did, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Started early with the theater. I mean, I was, church stuff early on.
Sure.
And then got into community theater.
Musicals?
Oh, yeah.
What? You sing too?
Oh, yeah.
This man does everything. We're starting a band.
Yeah. I just told somebody recently. I don't remember who. Maybe it's coming up on one of the podcasts that we just did. But my second degree that I was going to take in college, my first was business, and I got out of that quickly. But my second actually was voice.
Really?
And my voice instructor. You get assigned a specific instructor that kind of follows you through the whole course. He thought that I had a great operatic tenor voice.
Really? You could have been the next Josh Groban.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
First Josh Groban. I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But so he wanted me to do operatic. It was tenor. I felt like I was more of a baritone. It was really hard to sing.
Just to hit the...
some of the high notes, it's like because you're really pushing that upper register without going into falsetto.
Voice, yeah.
And so I did that, and then ended up I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I wanted to sing, not opera sing.
Yeah.
And which is funny now because I look at some of the guys that are out there, and I think, that'd be kind of cool, just do, whatever. But anyway, so and then I did theater, community theater. I played saxophone in high school and was paid actually to play my saxophone in a musical called 1940s Radio Hour.
No way.
Which actually calls for a trumpet player, but they didn't know a trumpet player, so they're like, anybody play an instrument? I'm like,
you were the
saxophone.
Timu trumpet
it's like,
player.
Here you go. So we had to sit down and rewrite the entire score in the key for the saxophone, and so we did that. But grew up in Washington. Western Washington is where I was born. And then when I was 7, we moved to Eastern Washington and just grew up there. Small little town, about 6,000 people, about 75 miles north of Spokane.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah. Played just about every sport you can imagine. Baseball, a lot. I went to baseball camp every summer and then disappointed my family by dropping out of baseball after my freshman year because the coach and I didn't. There's a longer story, but technically the coach and I didn't see eye to eye, and I thought I knew everything as a freshman, and I was a good baseball player.
Yeah, well, I feel like if you're not disappointing your parents at certain intervals, you're not doing
right.
It.
Exactly. So did that, played football, wrestled into college, was in track for a little bit. Ended up, after I dropped out of baseball, I started playing golf. So golf goes back to high school. Was never and still don't think of myself as being very good yet. We were joking about my handicap the other day, which I think the system lies, but so I'm good enough to play with people and them to say, "Oh, you're good," and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah. No, I've played with you. You can hold your own a lot better than I can.
If I was good, I'd be parring or birdieing every single hole. But
sounds like you're a Renaissance man. Like you've done everything like across the board. Like I didn't even know half the stuff about you that we talked about in the last 45 seconds.
Yeah. So that and then went to college. After college, like I said, I wrestled in college, and then my first year of college and then dropped out for a couple of years, went down and lived on the beach in San Diego for a little while with a buddy of mine out of the back of his car, and then went back to school.
Hold on. What were you doing in San Diego? Just to get away? Just to do your own thing?
We fought forest fires and had money at the end of the season. We got laid off, and we're like, neither one of us were going to school.
Yeah. So what was that experience like? I just watched that movie about the forest firefighters in Prescott for the first time a couple weeks ago. So I was actually thinking about it. What was that experience like for you?
It was amazing. I started off on a land crew where you're just digging line, and you're just really mostly what you're doing is mopping up hot spots. You go to the fire and you find hot spots and you put them out. And then I went from there to an engine crew, and then I went from the engine crew to the rappel crew. So I was on the rappel crew for a couple of years. We rappelled out of helicopters.
Okay, I was going to ask. There's not, mountains.
No, not mountains. Wow, helicopters. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of it's in the wilderness, so where they can't get people quickly. You've got either smoke jumpers who jump out of planes, and then you've got rappellers who rappel out of helicopters.
Did you think about being a smoke jumper, or did they just choose for you?
No, I thought about it, but I got accepted to the rappellers, which then after I got on the rappel crew, you quasi-cross-train with the jumpers. So you go to McCall, Idaho, and you train on the platforms, and you learn how to jump off a 25-foot platform and roll and do all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I'm a rappeller because I'm at least attached to something all the way down.
Yeah,
right?
I would feel the same way.
So did that for a couple years, and then, went back to school, got married, had kids, and been in insurance for 30 years.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any crazy stories from the firefighting era?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, lay them on me, man.
Let's see. There were 2 times that I almost died. And when I say almost died, like legitimately almost died.
Okay.
The first time we had a helicopter, it was a retired Bell 204, which type of helicopter. And anyways, we rappelled 2 people at a time. We went to rappel on a fire. We rappelled, myself and this guy, John, who was one of the crew bosses. We rappelled onto the fire, started fighting. They rappelled 2 more guys in, and then the helicopter went back to put the bucket on so that they could do water drops for us. When they put the bucket on, the helicopter took off and picked up a bucket of water. And as they were sitting over the water, they always release it to make sure it's all working okay. He pushed the trigger to release, and a fuel line broke in the helicopter. Dropped about 25 feet, broke his back, and wrecked the helicopter. I've got pictures on my Facebook page, which is the helicopter getting pulled out of the water and stuff.
What?
So that was all of 15 minutes after we rappelled out.
That's
so I mean,
insane.
literally could have been us.
Yeah.
There was another time, different helicopter. So after that helicopter was wrecked and gone, they brought in another helicopter, and my manager, my crew boss, and myself were rappelling into a wilderness spot that was, 10 miles or so away from anything. And the fire was starting to flare. Where it was sitting was on the top of a cliff, and there was a hill that came down, a little bit of a level bench, so to speak, and then a cliff, had a waterfall. It was a beautiful spot. Yeah. But the helicopter went in. We went in, checked everything to make sure that we could rappel. And when you rappel, there's all these different checks you do. So you fly in, you're hooked into the helicopter. You've got your rope between your legs in a bag, and you're buckled in. Once the helicopter sets and they figure out, okay, we're going to drop them in here, which is usually 150 to 200 feet rappel down. Okay. So you're dropping from that high. We pull in, and he pulls power, and we're checking the power and the spotter who's sitting in the middle. So there's 2 of us on either side. One guy sitting in the middle facing us, so back to the front on the mic, and then the pilot. And we're sitting there, and there's all these hand signals, but he says, yeah, check power. Power's good. Okay, release your seatbelts. So we release our seatbelts and check power. Power's good. Okay, ready. So you kind of slide off to the side and you start getting ready to get out onto the skid. And then they check power again, like, okay, get on the skid. So then we're sitting on the skid. And basically, if you can imagine being at the threshold of a door, squatting down like you're going to take a dump, holding on with one hand. Okay. And then you've got your rope in the other hand. Okay. Yep. And you've got 200 feet of rope hanging underneath the helicopter.
That sounds
connected
terrifying.
to the ground.
Yeah,
right?
Terrifying. Yeah.
So you're sitting there. we're sitting there, and we'd done all these power checks and all this stuff. All of a sudden, Kevin, the guy that was the spotter, his eyes just got huge. I mean, just big. Never seen anybody's eyes do that before. And, first thing goes to your head is, shit, something's wrong.
Yeah.
He reaches over, grabbed the back of the harness, because you've got a full harness. So grabbed the back of the harness of John, who was my crew boss, pulls him forward. As he's pulling him forward, he pulls his Jack the Ripper knife out, cuts his rope, lies back. So he falls back onto the floor of the helicopter, grabs me, and goes, cut your rope. So I rip my knife out, cut my rope. Helicopter went off the side of the cliff and pulled up about 20 feet below the ground.
What?
And then landed. And they land, and he's like, yeah, we lost. So a downdraft came over the ridge, pushed down, lost the pocket of air that the helicopter sits on. And so we dropped off the edge of the cliff.
Wow.
The only way he saved it was because that cliff was there. Had the cliff not been there, we would have been toast. I mean, literally would have been dead. They land. We get out. Myself and John get out. And they're like, we'll be back in 10 minutes. We're going to get you new rope.
This episode of Above and Beyond is brought to you by the amazing sponsors who help bring this show to life. A heartfelt thank you to Above Par Network, elevating connections and creating impact. Foundation Insurance Services, protecting what matters most with confidence and care. Maritime Credit Card Processing, empowering businesses through expert consulting and unwavering support. And Rocks Ink Calligraphy, bringing beauty and personal flair to every handwritten detail. We're proud to partner with these outstanding businesses who share our passion for excellence. For more about our sponsors and exclusive podcast content, visit abovebeyondpodcast.com.
I'm like,
You're like, someday.
I don't know that I want to do that.
Yeah.
So then we repelled it back. So we repelled into that fire. We repelled in 3 teams. So there were 6 of us. And then the fire blew up because the weather just got nasty. So the fire blew up. They called in a 20-person crew, hiked that crew in from wherever they got in. By the time they got there, the fire was like 5 acres. So it was starting to get pretty big for what we were dealing with. And we're fighting. Pretty soon we start getting calls over the radio. Hey, we may need to get you out of there before night. It's like, well, why? It says, well, there's weather. Looks like it's coming in for the morning. We don't think you should be in there, whatever. They kind of keep pushing it. And then they finally decide, well, we're just going to let you stay the night. We'll watch the weather. And if we need to, we'll pull you out in the morning. Well, we woke up in the morning and it was raining and it was overcast to the point where we're up in the Wallowa-Whitmans in northeastern Oregon. We're high enough in the mountains that you're basically in the clouds. Okay.
Yeah.
So a helicopter can't come get you at that point. Okay. Well, they're waiting for a break in the weather. Then they get a weather report that it's going to start snowing. So they're like, we got to get you guys out right now.
Right.
So we started manifesting the crew that had walked in because we needed to fly them out. And we were always the last out. So now we're manifesting, they're flying. And basically it's like this, about a 10-minute turnaround. Get 2 or 3 people, fly them out. 2 or 3 people, fly them out. By the time they got all of the crews out, I was the last on the ground with my crew boss, John. We were the last on the ground doing manifest. At this point, it's snowing and it is foggy. Like I probably wouldn't have been able to see you.
Yeah.
The helicopters don't run based off of radar. They're all flight by sight.
Okay.
And so he's like, well, I can get in to get them because I know the path that we've taken. He kind of followed the tree line. Once we get in, it's like it literally was getting thicker and thicker and thicker.
Yeah.
We get in the helicopter. He literally starts just flying in a circle, trying to find the tops of the trees. And it's like, okay, how high do I have to go to get to the tops of these trees? And then where can I get? So we literally, without doors on or anything, just started elevating. It got so stupid cold.
Oh, that's insane.
But yeah, so same fire, just crazy. I was on a land crew. I have a bunch of stories I could tell. I was on a land crew in central Washington, and I was on a hose. I was on the end of the hose, small, and it's a 1-inch hose. So it's a small little hose. End of the 1-inch hose, I've got a spotter behind me who always worked in pairs of twos. He was behind me, basically watching to make sure nothing got behind me. Well, I'm sitting there spraying and, whatever. You can't hear anything because it's just loud and whatnot. And pretty soon the water just kind of dies. I'm like, so we must have run out of water. Wait a few minutes, they'll refill and we'll get going again. Mm-hmm. Standing there. Turn around and look. There was a fire between myself and where the engine was. Oh. And so basically it had burned through the hose, melted a hole in the hose. Then it was pushing out. Jeez. So then I had to run back through. So yeah, I mean, but I loved it. I mean, I loved it. But, a lot of times you're just running chainsaw. I was able to, I was Class A feller, so I could fall really big trees, which was pretty cool. So you're out in the middle of the woods.
That is so insane to me. It never ceases to amaze me. And, listening to this podcast and hearing everybody's stories, just how many talented people that there are around us every day. Yeah. Imagine the amount of courage that it takes for somebody to do what you did there. And I'm sure that's a fraction of the things that you've done in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's cool too, right? You watch it. I was having a conversation with a guy one time who was in the military, and I never spent time in the military. I would say it's probably the one thing that I now look back on and actually regret because I was a hardcore adrenaline junkie in my early 20s, obviously jumping out of helicopters.
A lot more than I was.
And we did some pretty crazy stuff. But I was never in the military. I was actually talking to a guy that was in the military. He goes, and I said, I got mad props for you guys that, spent time in the military. He says, well, you did the same thing. I'm like, no. He says, you spent 6 years fighting forest fires. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he goes, you probably saw more action than I ever did. And I'm like, never thought about it that way. Right? It's like, but you don't think about those things.
No,
I just doing my job.
I can only imagine the harrowing experiences that you had going through that.
Oh yeah.
And you've shared a couple.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, seriously, right?
So that was. It's funny because I look back now and I think if I had my younger body, I would in a heartbeat go back to that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I loved it that much. And I was in stupid good shape. Yeah. On our days off, they would repel us. If we weren't up for rotation, we were a couple deep in rotation and there wasn't anything really going on, we'd either repel or they'd hike us down into the bottom of Hell's Canyon, which is kind of a small Grand Canyon. It
sounds like a promising canyon.
Yeah. Part of the Snake River.
All the good things happen.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And we'd go down with, either our ready pack, which was 25 to 30 pounds, or our day pack, which was 100 pounds, and drop us in the bottom. We'd hike out and, never think twice about it. It's just go. Right?
Just
in stupid good shape.
Okay, so you've talked a little bit about your firefighting experience. I know you're in insurance now. You've done some other things in your life. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know that I ever... Actually, I take that back. When I was a very young child, and so we moved to Colville when I was 7, I was born on Whidbey Island, and my parents were scuba divers.
Okay.
And, they had their other day jobs, but they scuba dived, scuba dove, however you say that. And they were part of what's called Sea Scouts, which is kind of like a local Coast Guard type thing. And I can just remember watching them scuba dive. And I'd go with my dad to where they got their tanks filled and stuff like that. And I always thought it'd be cool to be just do that.
Okay.
Right?
So have you scuba dived?
I have, yes, but no. Okay. I've never scuba dived in open water.
Okay.
Only in lakes.
Oh, okay.
So I've snorkeled, but that doesn't count. But yeah, no, I haven't, which is crazy. And then, when we moved to the eastern part of the state, my parents did a couple more times, and then their stuff just sat in the basement for years.
Really?
And then it just was gone. But,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought about being a professional scuba diver.
Yeah. In fact,
I've never scuba dived in open water yet.
Never.
That seems like something you got to check off your adrenaline list.
Right. I think I need to do that. When the first Gulf War hit was right when I was fighting forest fires, and I was in stupid good shape. And somebody had mentioned to me that they were talking about needing to reopen the draft. Oh. But it was before they started anything, and before basically it was a rollover war. And I thought, well, then I'm just going to go into the military. And I had a friend that was in the Navy, and I had a friend that was in the Coast Guard. And I actually went to the Coast Guard recruiter and I said, hey, I want to be a scuba diver.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't have those in the Coast Guard.
What? Who do they have it with?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And so we kind of go through this whole thing. Come to find out, they call them swimmers.
Okay.
But you would think,
Like he
Right.
didn't know what you were getting
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
Really, dude?
You'd think
Yeah.
that you'd be able to figure that out. Because I always thought that'd be cool to jump out of a helicopter into the water to save people, to do
Yeah,
that thing. Because I was a
right.
strong swimmer,
Uh-huh.
and so. And then he's like, "No, we don't have that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I went to the Navy recruiter, and that's a whole other story. But that was pretty wicked too. I was half a centimeter from joining the Navy. But
So what changed that?
you want the story?
Of course, that's what we're here for. Give me
Okay,
all the
so
stories.
went to the naval recruiter. My friend who was he had been in the Navy. He was actually re-enlisted in the Army National Guard at this point, but he was in the Navy. He basically told me, he says, "Look, if they ever say they guarantee you anything, get it in writing." I'm like, okay, cool. So you do the ASVAB, you get your score, you do your physical, you do all the different stupid things you do. There's a lie detector test that we had to take, and they asked me, "Have you ever done any drugs?" And I said, "Well, I did pot once in high school," not thinking anything of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go in to be a corpsman, medic, field medic. And the guy's like, "Well, you can't be a corpsman if you've done drugs." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, you're going to be carrying morphine on the battlefield, and you're more likely to use it than somebody who hasn't done drugs." I'm like, "Dude, I was stupid enough to tell you one time in high school I tried it."
See, not even one marijuana.
Yeah, it's like so at that point he's like, "Well, you can't do it, but you scored high enough to be a nuclear engineer." And I'm like,
Okay.
"I don't know what that is, but my brother's an engineer and he's boring, and I don't know." He's like, but I'm like, I don't want to be a nuclear engineer, whatever that is. And I've since found out it's basically you're driving a sub, type of thing.
Sounds kind of cool.
And so we kind of went through this iteration of stuff. And he's like, "Well, what else do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I'd love to be a SEAL," not knowing that you got to test into it and all this stuff. I was young and dumb. And he's like, "Oh, well, I can guarantee you SEAL schools." I'm like, he just said guarantee. I'm like, "Can I get that in writing?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, let me make a couple calls." So he leaves the room. He comes back in. He says, "Look, here's what we're going to do. You go in as a 2-year seaman apprenticeship program. We'll guarantee you the next SEAL school opportunity that comes up. And then after 18 months, you can re-enlist for school." I'm like, "What's a 2-year seaman apprenticeship program?" He says, "Well, you get to experience everything the Navy has to offer."
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, so I go to boot camp and then what?" "You get to experience everything the Navy has to offer." I'm like, that sounds like cleaning toilets
Pretty
in the bottom
vague.
of
Yeah, it sounds like you're the water boy of the
it's like,
Navy. Yeah.
I don't like that, and I'm just smart enough to go, "It doesn't sound like a good idea to me."
Oh, he's got to work on his pitch. That's
Yeah,
not
so
gonna
I'm
get
like, "Yeah, I don't think so." And we kind of got into this heated discussion, and I'm like, "Look, let me call my recruiting officer." So I called my recruiting officer. I said, "Here's what he's telling me. He told me he's going to guarantee me SEAL schools." He goes, "He'll never guarantee you SEAL schools." He says he can't. That's a test, and you have to test into it. And then I said, "And he wants me to do this 2-year seaman apprenticeship program." He goes, "He fucking offered you that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "No."
Wow, it's good to get somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
Man. Jeez.
So I ended up not going into the Navy, but I was like literally at the point of signing paperwork to go in.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was nuts. But.
So how did you get from wanting to be a scuba diver to forest fighting to almost the Navy to insurance? What are we missing in between there?
So I went to school. My degree is in fitness and sport management. That's what I finally landed on. And really it was more, my mom had did physical therapy. I'd been in sports my entire life. My mom's not a physical therapist, but she worked in it. And I thought it'd be cool to do rehabilitation and work with athletes. So it'd be cool to go to PT school. And so I started working with some of the trainers and doing different things and got my degree, fitness and sport management. Really what happened is I just got sick of school and I'm like, what's the quickest way?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Reasonable. Yeah.
And got out of school, was doing a practicum with Health South, which the head athletic trainer for the Seattle Mariners, Ken Rawls, was the head of Health South, and I was working directly under him. We were doing a lot of rehabilitation for the pitchers on the squad and different stuff. Loved it, but was getting paid almost nothing. Did a summer working in the Seahawks mini camp to basically just helping out there, and then my daughter, I had a daughter who was, I can't remember if she was about a year old at that point. She had to have been about a year old. And we were living in an apartment, and I'm like, I need to make money. And my ex-brother-in-law is like, "You ever thought about insurance?" And I'm like, no idea what that is. I mean, obviously I knew what it was. Buy car insurance at that point. But I'm like, I don't know anything about it. And he's like, "Well, it can pay you pretty good. If you give it 18 months, you'll figure it out." And so I got into claims and did claims for a while. And then we moved to Arizona in 99, and I was a sales manager, territory manager for a couple different companies for the different Southwest regions, and have tried to get out of insurance a couple different times. I tested for the Mesa Police Department. And it's funny because Frank and I were talking, and he said that he was doing the same thing. And I think it was right about the exact same time. I was offered a position with the Mesa Police Department the same day that I was called into my manager's office when I was doing claims. And he says, hey, our territory sales manager just left, and we think you'd be really good at it. Are you interested? I'm like, well, what do you got to do? He says, you just need to go out and, get agents to sell our products. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, just, take them to dinner, take them golfing, do, I'm like, okay.
You give me a corporate card.
Yeah.
I go do fun things with people I like.
Exactly.
And then I get paid for it.
Exactly. So that was like, I'm not going to Mesa PD. I'm just, do this. And I stayed in insurance. There's been a couple of those that have come along where it's like, maybe I'll get out.
Yeah.
I'll stay in. It just, insurance has been good to me. It's definitely not something, I don't think many people wake up and go, I'm going to go be an insurance agent, because most people don't want to talk to you. And you're like, But I've enjoyed it, and I enjoy the consultative aspect of things. I like talking to people and say, okay, look, this is where you're at. And everybody comes to me and they want to save money. I mean, that's usually where the conversation starts. Right. Oh, I'm paying too much. Yep. Okay, what does that mean? Yeah. It's like, so am I, but it is what it is. Right. But and then looking at it and going, okay, well, let's take a look at what you've got, your operation. What is it that is the exposure, and how do we put things in place that are going to cover that? And then if I can save you money, I will do that. Sure. So it's kind of like third on my list, where it's first on your list, and it's like those whole things.
Absolutely. Because people are going to be very, very upset if they've been saving money on their premiums but have to come out of pocket because their limits aren't high enough to cover.
Limits aren't high enough, or there's some weird,
like an exclusion or something.
I had a claim. Gosh, this is probably half a dozen, 12, 15 years ago, had a claim where I had inherited some business. So there were some policies on the books. The person that was managing them left. I kind of inherited them. Yep. I have a certain philosophy on coverages that I think people should have. And one of those coverages is, if you're a business owner, I truly believe if you have an auto, you should carry a minimum of $500,000 in coverage, but really push it to $1 million. Okay. Right. Not because you're probably ever going to need that, but I feel like we work so hard as business owners to build what we've got, that to have that taken away in just a swipe. Sure. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for the little about more you're going to pay. So I had this client, I inherited his auto policy. He was $300,000 combined single limit. What that basically means is, for any injury or any physical damage done in that accident, they're going to pay out a maximum of $300,000. Okay. He's out in Sun City. For a couple years, I've been, look, we need to increase this. He says, I've been in business for 40 years, never needed my auto policy, don't need to increase, blah, blah, blah. Argue. I'm like, but every year, I'm like, and I need you to sign this, that you understand that we talked about this, whatever. So I get a call on a Saturday morning, and he says, hey, I was in an accident. I'm like, is everybody okay? He says, well, I am. I'm like, that doesn't sound very good. He says, I ran over a guy in a golf cart.
Yikes.
I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I said, is he okay? And he goes, no, he's dead.
Oh, that's not good.
He says, but it wasn't my fault. I'm like, oh, like that makes it better,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
But you're kind of like, oh, okay. Then, yeah, we're not worried about this $300,000.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The insurance company basically came out and denied the claim initially because the guy in the golf cart ran a red light in front of my client. Client locked up his brakes, ended up hitting him, running over the top of him, and hitting a tree. Okay. And it was on Grand Avenue, going 50 miles an hour, whatever it was. Yeah. Anyways, so they go through this whole thing. The family of the guy ends up getting an attorney, filing a lawsuit against my client. He was driving a Cadillac Escalade. They pulled the computer chip out of the Cadillac Escalade. He was going 3 miles an hour over the speed limit, maxed out the policy.
Really? That's
Kid you not.
absurd.
Yeah. So I tell people, I'm like, look, yeah, I could get you at 300,000, 500,000, you know, but is that $1,000 a year, $500 a year? Is it, I mean, is it really worth that much? Are you ever going to need it? Maybe not. But so that's, my philosophy is just a little bit different. And it's not that I don't want to write people's business. I love writing people's business. I love the relationship aspect of it. But if people start pushing back, I'll be like, you know what? I just don't think I'm right. There's a million other agents out there. There's a lot of guys out there that'll do you wrong all day and they don't care. At the end of the day, I got to wake up on Saturday morning and get that call. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And, you know, like in your business, like insurance is obviously a commodity. It's something we all have to have, and a lot of people offer it. So where do you feel like a lot of agents fail for their customers?
I think just what you said, and when I say we, the insurance industry as a whole has made it very transactional. Right? It is.
Go online, save 15% in 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, all those little things, only buy what you need, which is one that just ticks me off because people have no clue what they need. Right? So we have over commoditized the industry. We've made it so transactional. There are people out there that will take advantage of that all day long. And I run into them constantly. You know, you get into a situation where you're having a conversation with somebody and I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head that came up recently where you get an account and the person's like, look, I'm trying to save money. And you're like, okay, cool. Let's look at what you currently have. And then you send your policy and everything's scribbled out. And you're like, look, I just want to see the coverage. I need to see what you currently have because I'm going to quote you what I think you should have. And then when I come back to you and say, hey, it's $10,000, you're like, well, I was only paying $1,000. And I could say, well, but
the coverages are way
different.
Exactly.
You're just throwing your money at the wind, you know, type of thing. But where I've had people who've come to me trying to save money, I'll take a look at their policies and it's like, I mean, for example, I had one that was written as a sporting goods store. They were manufacturing broadheads for arrows, the tips of them. The name of the product was Gravedigger, and it was a razor triangle with two like barbs that when they went in, it opened up and bore a hole in whatever it was. And I'm like, and they're working out of their garage, you know, getting stuff from China and whatever, and just manufacturing this stuff together. I said, okay, look, here's the thing. You can put your head in the sand, stay where you're at. What's going to happen is if you ever have a claim, more than likely that claim will probably be covered unless there's some type of, you know, where you actually signed an application that says, you know, sporting goods store, or we can write it correct today, you know, and we ended up rewriting it just because they were trying to get a contract with Cabela's. But it's one of those things where it's like, you see that all the time, you know, you get a personal insurance agent, and no offense to personal insurance agents, but a house is a house is a house is a house, right? Do you have a pool? Do you have a dog? Do you have exotic animals? Do you have jewelry? Whatever. Businesses are so drastically different. And for me to try to pigeonhole something into a nothingness, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And I mean, we have a client right now who's just ticked off. He's like $8,600 a month. And he's like, you know, this is too much. And I'm like, I get it. You know, I feel for you.
Right.
But
it's not
it is what it is. You know?
And it's what is required, or at least what's going to protect you.
Right. Exactly.
More importantly. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's, I don't know. I like the mental calisthenics that it creates.
Like solving a puzzle for somebody.
And then the relationships. I mean, I just love people. So that's why I started the podcast.
Well, you could tell. Anybody that sat down with you for more than a couple minutes knows that you love people, that you care about people. I think that's pretty evident.
No, thank you.
So speaking of that, do you have anybody that you can think of, you know, whether it was while you were younger or at any point in your life that you felt like was really somebody that you looked up to or admired that was a really big influence in your life and what you've done?
And this, if I'm going to cry, will be when I do.
I was hoping.
He's still with us. He's still alive. I had a wrestling coach in high school who, when I was a freshman, was his first year of coaching. His name's Monty Jones, and he believed in me like nobody believed in me. And honestly, I kind of feel, and he was a football coach too, but he was a running backs coach, and I was a quarterback and free safety. And I feel like had he been a quarterbacks coach, I probably would have believed in myself a little bit more because I was a pretty decent athlete. But on the wrestling mat, man, he was hard nosed, but he loved you with everything he had.
Yeah.
And you knew it, right? And it's funny because I always think back, or when I have conversations with people about, when you tell your kids something over and over and over and over and over again, and then somebody else comes and says it once, they're like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That was him.
Okay.
Like, my dad could browbeat me all day long, and it's almost like as soon as my dad started talking, I just throw up the wall.
Just turns off.
I don't know what you're saying, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And then Monty would say something, and I almost feel like sometimes they may have been conspiring, But he was amazing, and we did. Oh my God, there was a group of 4 of us through high school that were very, very close. 2 guys, 2 girls, didn't date each other, but we spent almost every Friday night at his house. His wife would make us popcorn. We'd watch scary movies typically. One night we're watching movies, and there happened to be another person there. So there's 3 girls, but Sheila was getting ready to leave, and we had been watching Friday the 13th or something like that. Which someone with a chainsaw?
Leatherface. Leatherface is the guy.
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah.
Anyways, Halloween.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Weapon there. Yeah.
So we're watching that, and Sheila's getting ready to leave, and Molly's like, come here. So we go in the garage, and he pulls the chain off of his chainsaw, and he hands it to my buddy Lyle. Fires that thing. Sheila comes around and he fires that thing up. Oh my gosh, she just dropped. But we had a great time, and he was such an influence on my life. He was actually in my wedding.
Okay.
Aside from I keep in touch with a few of the guys that were in my wedding, but he had such an impact on my life that just incredible. We were at state. I don't remember if we were state or regionals. Anyways, we were staying. It doesn't matter. We were staying at a hotel for a match. It was one of the championship matches, and somebody had taken a bunch of videos, and I wanted to watch a video on the video camera, big VHS camera.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I wanted to watch, and my buddy Lyle had it, and he started taunting me. And Lyle, I was 160 pounds. I wrestled 178. He was 190 pounds, wrestled 190. He's taller than me, big. And he starts kind of like taunting me, and I was like in the zone, right? We're there to wrestle.
Yeah, you got Eye of the Tiger playing in your brain.
Kick somebody's ass. And he starts taunting me, and I'm like, I'm sure I was throwing explicatives, whatever you say, all over the place. Finally, I turned and I grabbed him right under the shoulders and slammed him against the wall. His butt went through the wall that were my shoulders.
Oh, jeez.
It's like just one of those He-Man moments.
Adrenaline.
And Monty comes in. He's like, you dumbasses. Takes the picture, moves it over the hole. We laughed. I'm sure some that he thought.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was just a cool guy. He was down to earth, cool, but pushed us hard. Pushed us hard. And he's kind of coaching now. There were some issues. He ended up not coaching for quite a while, but every time I go back home, I have to go see him. And
So. Would you say there's maybe like an overarching lesson or something that he said to you at some point that was really poignant to you?
So there was a kid, and I say a kid, there was a guy. We all grew up together. There were 3 of us that grew up second grade together. Steve Knight, Andy Divis, and myself. And if those guys listen to this, whatever. But Steve, I would say we were loosely friends, but more nemesis than anything.
Frenemies?
He was the one guy I could never beat in wrestling. His older brother wrestled, ended up being like a Division I, champion, whatever. I could not beat Steve.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was mental. I don't know what it was. But there was a meet we were at, and I feel like it was for something bigger than, whatever. And I had wrestled up. So Andy wrestled 148. Andy wrestled 158. Steve wrestled 168. I wrestled 178. Okay. I think is how it worked out. But I'd wrestled up because I weighed 160 pounds.
I was going to ask you that earlier.
Anyways, we go to this match, and Monty pulls me aside, and he goes, look. He goes, I know you don't believe in yourself, but I know you can beat Steve. You have every ounce of talent. You have, everything it takes. You just got to let yourself go. Don't hold yourself back. And I ended up beating him that day.
Okay.
It was the first time I ever beat him. I did that. He used to give me shit all the time, about, I always smiled. I always had a smile on. And I think when I get nervous, I smile. Okay. So I'd get on the mat and I'd smile. He goes, "You got to stop smiling." I'm like, "Why?" It's like,
you're smiling right now.
Right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but I would do that. I'd go on the mat but he believed and would say that. He didn't steal it. He I think loved me, whether it's like a son or a brother. I mean, because he's not that much older than I am. Sure. But it was just that somebody else saw in me what I didn't see. Yeah. And he would push me. Yeah. He'd say, "You're going to do great things."
Because he cared, though,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not because it was like selfish in any way, but because he wanted to see you succeed.
Right.
And I think that
he could see probably self-doubt or whatever. I mean, I was a very, it's weird because you look back and you're like, "Oh, it's popular," but what does that really mean? It's like we're a small town. Everybody kind of does everything. Yeah. Everybody knows everybody type of thing. But I knew everybody, but I didn't understand or realize that, until later. Like I was out of school, 3 or 4 years, went back to school. Some kid comes up to me and goes, "Jan Simon." Okay. I'm like,
the Jan Simon.
Yeah, right. That's the right. Jan Simon. That's how I introduced myself.
That's right.
Yeah. Simon.
Okay, so I was having a conversation, maybe a few months ago with my wife, and she and I met when we were in high school, and I am the second of 6 kids in our family.
Wow.
My sister, only girl, is a year older than me, and she's tough as shit, and she always has been. And my wife moved to town when she was 16. Okay. And I think a lot of people back then and still now were very intimidated by my sister. Yeah. And my wife was one of those, one, because she liked me, and 2, because my sister did not fuck around, Yeah. And so for whatever reason, this came up the other day, but my wife was telling me that oftentimes when she has moments in her life where she just feels like she just can't push through to the next level, and she just can't, like there's so much to get done and she just can't figure out how to do it. She's got this voice in her ear telling her, get it done.
You got this.
And that's my sister's voice.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Is Monty your voice?
I would say probably yes, not to disparage my ex-wife, because I don't mean it that way at all. Right. But there are times when it's her voice. Okay. Where, and not to go into stories, but where she would say things to me that they cut. Yeah. But so sometimes it's that. Yeah. Sometimes it's Monty. Sure. Sometimes it's that whole, where I'm sitting, because a lot of my life I have lived in what I would say is fear. Where I've stopped myself. I don't know enough. I don't know how I would do this, or I don't, and you hear people say, "Oh, well, if you don't know how to do your books, hire somebody to do your books." But then you're like, "Well, I don't have money to hire somebody."
Right. It's like a new business. We don't have revenue yet. Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of times, but yeah, his voice resonating inside me that says, you know more than you think you do, or or you're better than you think you are. Yeah. Everybody, I was actually beat up quite a bit when I was a kid, young kid, before junior high, and. I think sometimes that kid drives the bus, Yep. Where it's like, you're like, well, I don't want to get punched in the face. Yeah. Yep. And then the other kid's got to come along and go, step back. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you bring up a really great point, because, I feel oftentimes in my life too, it's, I find motivation in a couple different ways, from the people, the voice in my head, from the people that love me and care about me and believe in me, and they're pushing me, right? In my mind, they're pushing me to get to the next level because they care about me, right? And because they want to see me succeed. And then on the other hand, used as motivation too, is the people, the naysayers, the haters, right? The people that tell you can't do it and tell you, how terrible you are and that you won't achieve things, right? And I feel like you can turn either one of those things into fuel.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes you have to remind yourself of that, and and okay, maybe not remind yourself. You have to recognize when one or the other shows up.
Sure.
Right. And if it's the one that's holding you back, be able to say, okay, no, we used to tell the kids when they were young that, look, this is only scary because you haven't done it yet. Right. And it's interesting because like insurance is what I know.
Yeah.
Right. I've been doing insurance for 30 years. It's what I know. It's what I do. And there's times where I think, God, I'd love to get into commercial property, or ownership or, those types of things. But I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't have money to do that. I don't have this, I don't have that.
Sure.
So you create those barriers.
You talk yourself out
right.
of it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not ready. When I get this much money in the bank, then I'll be ready, And then when I get to that much money in the bank, I'll be like, that's nice to have this much money in the bank.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, right.
So,
and at either point, one of those, that voice could be, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. Let's get it started. And the other voice can be like, no, you can't. You're terrible.
Right.
And you say, fuck it. Let's do it. You use both of them for fuel.
Yeah. I used to carry around in my wallet. In fact, I probably still have it in the same wallet that I used to carry it around in some drawer in the house someplace. But and I don't remember where I got it. Might have been on a fortune cookie. I don't know. But it said, face your fear and the death of fear is certain. Talking won't overcome fear, but action will.
Hell yeah.
And there's times where I stop and I go, okay, what action can I take right now?
Yep.
That may not be comfortable, but is a little bit out of that fear zone, right?
Yeah.
And only in the last few years have I really gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, I it's not that I don't care what people think. It's that I'm just comfortable with who I am. And it's like, you know what? Like the other night we had the APN draft party for, and I showed up in my clothes.
I didn't see what they were, but
you'll have to go look for pictures.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where it's like, I'm doing this, right? This is going to be fun. For me, it's just going to be fun.
Okay, you got to explain to our listeners what kind of clothes you're wearing, because I'm out of the loop and so are they right now.
Yeah, so it started out with this thought of John Daly. And what would John Daly wear?
Okay.
And so I ended up with American flag pants.
Nice.
A white polo with American flag ripped across it. I had a mullet wig and my whack fuck golf hat on. So it was. I mean, and it was just one of those things. It's like, I'm just going to make this fun. I want this to be a blast.
Absolutely.
And but those are the types of things that I wouldn't have done before because I'd be too worried about what people are going to think.
Right. Interesting, coming from a theater kid.
Right?
Very. Yeah.
I've worn dresses places, not on purpose in public.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, man.
And that's one thing. I don't know about you, but there are times, like if I had time, I would love to try my hand at acting again. Like stage acting. I don't think I could ever do TV. I mean, that's weird. But stage acting, because I'm I guess a little bit larger with my movements and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. You got to project to the back row, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. To be that.
So have you thought about doing like a Hale Theater?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think about it quite a bit, but dude,
that's so funny.
So much.
Because like my favorite music of all time is Newsies.
Oh yeah.
And if they had like an open casting called Newsies, I would 1,000%.
No kidding.
There. Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
You and me, I would be. Was it Steve? Was it Steve that you wrestled in high school?
Yeah.
Steve, I would be your Steve.
Yeah, be my
when
Steve.
it came to Hale Theater Newsies.
That's funny. Yeah. No, that would be awesome. I think it'd be really cool to do The Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. I think I could probably sing still. I think I sing great in my car with the
I'm
radio.
having this urge to have an a cappella session right now. But
Right, no.
We'll spare everybody. We could do that off. We
Yeah, that'll be for you paid subscribers.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the after party.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Okay. So you've obviously done a lot in your life. You've seen ups and downs. You've had successes and failures. Tell me about a time where you were going through the failure and how that felt and how you got your way out of it.
Well, we kind of talked about this on your episode, so I'll kind of rehash a little bit. But so 2007, 2008, yeah, and it probably started before that. We were always in a rush to get to the next step, right? It was graduate college. We had a kid before we were graduate college. But then you graduate college, you get married, have a kid, buy a house, those types of things. We were always in a rush, always ahead of ourselves. And so when 2007, 2008 came around, we were overextended. We were already having issues in our marriage. It got really bad. I mean, we got to the point where we, when I say we lost everything, went through bankruptcy, foreclosure, lost the only thing we kept through the bankruptcy, because I had gotten rid of, so I had a truck that I think I told the story that it was like $700 and some a month payment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not paying this payment anymore. So I called the credit union. I said, look, I can bring it to you. You can come get it. And the lady's like, well, if you could bring it to us, that'd be great. I'm like, yeah, I knew you were going to say that,
You shouldn't have offered.
Right, exactly. So I went and detailed it and threw my bike in the back, took it there, dropped it off, dropped the keys, said I'm going to get my bike out of the back, whatever. Started riding home, got to the first stoplight, light turned red. And so I stopped. So I'm having this conversation with God. And I'm like, Jesus, I just don't know. I don't know what I've got left in the tank. I mean, at this point, my marriage is basically over. We're waiting for the foreclosure paperwork to come through and the short sale to happen on the house. We're in the process of contemplating going through bankruptcy court as we're bleeding money. And light turns green. I start to pedal my bike, and the chain broke. I literally broke down in tears in that moment. Yeah. I was just like, I have literally nothing left.
Like the walls are closing in. What else can you do?
I really, truly at that point in my life was going to bed praying that I wouldn't wake up in the morning. Yeah. Because I didn't have the balls to kill myself.
Sure.
And I don't know if I can say that on the air, but I wasn't there. And then ended up finding out some things that were happening and decided at that point that I was not going to stay married to my now ex-wife. Yeah. I can remember laying in bed, shaking inside, an uncontrollable shake that you can't explain to anybody. Yeah. And really, truly wishing myself dead. Yeah. Like I didn't want to do it because I couldn't imagine the pain that it would cause my children. Yep. But I felt if I just die,
you don't have to feel it anymore.
Right. Because let's have a heart attack. Yeah. That's not my fault. That just happened.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I literally, truly was in that place where I was praying, like, just let me die. Let me die. Yeah. And at that point I was living with my parents. My kids were part-time with me, part-time with my ex. The house foreclosed. I had moved into a rental property up in Mesa, got another job. I'd quit a job so there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. Got another job. August 5th, my kids and my ex was on a work trip. My kids left with their aunt and uncle to go live in Minnesota. And I can remember, it's going to start. I can remember, you did it. There was a red Volkswagen Bug. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking at that bug and thinking, I don't have anybody to slug. Yeah. Because my daughter and I would always play slug bug. Yeah. Always. And, God, that was painful. It was like they left and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I knew I couldn't go to Minnesota because I needed to extract myself from that relationship because to me it was very abusive, not a physical abusive, but a mental controlling type thing that I knew I could not continue. And there were some other things that broke the trust that made me go, I just can't do this. And so they left and I was in, actually I think at that point I had the job that I had gotten, the new job I had gotten fired. I had it for 1.5 years, bought a truck. The week after I bought the truck, I had a meeting. We had Monday morning meetings as in sales. Yeah. Monday morning meeting. And my boss is like, hey, Jan, I've got an HR manager here with me. Just want to let you know your services are no longer needed.
You're like, cool.
I'm like,
this is going well.
I'm like, boy, can I take one more thing? Right. So then when the kids left, I ended up packing everything up, putting it in storage, and went back up to Washington for a month. Lived with my uncle for a little bit, just trying to figure out what I was going to do. Lived off my savings and spent some time with family and whatnot. And then came back to Arizona because I was like, you know what? Unless I moved to Washington, I'm not moving anywhere else. Mm-hmm. I'm coming back here because I, at this point, really love Arizona. And Came back to Arizona, lived on the floor of my buddy's house for, gosh, I don't even know, months. Yeah. And then, from there, and then it was one of those things where I don't remember specifically what happened, but there was a moment where I can remember sitting. I went from having a newer Toyota Tundra to driving a Ford Taurus that was falling apart to having my ex-wife's Mercedes, because that was the only thing they allowed us to keep.
Okay. Reaffirmed it.
Yeah. In the bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. And then I got rid of the Mercedes to get the Toyota Tundra.
Oh, yeah.
So then I got the Toyota Tundra, which then I just packed more debt on top of the Tundra. Yeah. But I remember, and it's weird because I can't pull from where I was. It's like I can remember the moment, but I don't remember the surroundings. But I just remember having this thought where it's like, I live in a country that allows me to do whatever I want to do. I can control where I go from here. And I'd spent the better part of 6 months or so, licking my wounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just finally went, I'm done with that. Mm-hmm. I'm done. I'm gonna go, whatever. Christine came into my life. She's been an amazing support to me, helped me out through a number of different things, supported me silently, I guess, or quietly pushed me forward, just supporting me. Without her, who knows?
Yeah,
but there was just this thing, and then it kind of continued to grow. I had a friend ask me to help him start an agency. We started the agency, and then I went to work for AAA because I wanted really badly to learn more about business insurance. Okay. Worked there for 4 years, was offered a position to go work for somebody to grow their commercial division. Went there, and we fought like wild dogs. It just wasn't right. And then the day that she let me go, I was like, I'm doing this myself. Yeah. And I spent 23 years telling myself, okay, someday I'm just do this myself. Someday I'm gonna do this myself. Finally, I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah. And the one thing I did wrong was Christine was not the person I consulted with, but she stood by me, and I fought through this and built it. But yeah, there was definitely a time where I'm like, I could stay in this corner and be down and out, or I can get up and I can go for another round.
Hell yeah.
And I just said, I'm going for another round, and you know what? I'm going to make this the best fucking round I've ever had.
Yeah, let's get it.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because I started the business right before COVID, and then COVID hit, so then you're pivoting, you're like, yeah, how am I going to do this? But yeah, it's been incredible.
Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Man, I think, the common theme with all of these podcasts that I've seen, I haven't listened to all of them, but I've listened to the majority of them, is, people that just, at some point in your life, and I think it happens for everybody, you just get beat down. And sometimes it's so hard to the point that you don't know if you can keep going at all.
Yeah.
Right. But there is a way, there's hope on the other side.
Yep.
If you're smart about what you're doing, if you learn from the mistakes that you've made, and if you just persevere. Right?
Well, and how easy would it be to go and accept that defeat?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think people do it every day.
Say, you know what?
Yeah.
Just
fuck it.
me.
Like I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Why should I fight to get ahead?
Sure.
I mean, I think about the business, and right now I'm waiting to hear from my accountant, because I'm sure I'm just going to have to write a big check to the IRS.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you've been on the other end of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but I sit and I think, I think about, and this is not a tear down or derogatory towards anybody who does this, but I think about the people who are okay going to work for somebody else and just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah. And
I think sometimes I wish I had that in my head.
Sure.
Right? I wish I could just be okay with that.
Right.
Because it would honestly, it'd be so much easier.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit who you are as a person, right? Like it would be easier, but you wouldn't be fulfilled.
Right.
Right. And everybody's built so differently. Like some people, like that is fulfilling to them. Like that's what they want to do. And they don't want, whatever, extra responsibility, extra time. Yeah. And then there are other people like you and I that we would just never be happy if we weren't able to have the opportunity to try to choose our own destinies and get there. Yeah.
Have an idea and run after it.
Absolutely.
It's like, I was talking to Jeff Bride earlier today, and he was talking to me about different ideas, and I'm like, dude, I'll tell you, there's so many things running through my head.
Yeah.
You know, time and money.
Yeah. I'm thinking squirrels and Frank.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Man. Okay.
Awesome.
So do you have any final wisdom that you would like to impart on us today? We've talked a lot. I mean, you've experienced highs and lows.
Mm-hmm.
You've had some incredible experiences in your life. You've done things in your life that other people would never dream of doing. I would never rappel out of a helicopter. Doesn't matter how much you paid me, right?
Yeah.
Through all of those things, is there a message, an overarching message that you could leave with everybody that you think would be impactful to them that may have been impactful to you?
Yes. And it's funny because in our political climate today, I feel like I have to give a caveat to this, and I'm not going to.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give justice to what has been fed to us by the media or the politics or whatever.
Hey, you're the producer and the editor of the show.
Take it out,
you
right?
Say whatever you want.
but I truly believe, and people say, you've got privilege or whatever that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Nobody's showed up and given me $100,000
handed you
check,
anything. Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're down on your luck. Let me give you money.
Sure.
I don't have money in my family. Nothing. I truly believe we have the ability, no matter what your history is, what your background is, what your story is, where you came from, single family, whatever. You are the only person that can stop you from being successful. And I firmly believe that. Like, I've never lived in the inner city. I've never had to pull myself out of the inner city, right? I mean, I grew up in a great small community that allowed me to do a lot of stuff. I've had good opportunities throughout my life, but I've never had anybody hand me anything, right? I've had to work hard for everything I've gotten.
Yeah.
And I could have taken that opportunity when I was literally boiled down to absolutely nothing, crushed. And I could have stopped right there and said, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I did for a while. And then I was like, okay, nope, you know what? Nobody's going to control this. Nobody's going to have this. And I'm going to build this bigger and better. And you know what? The thing I learned through that, I grew up, my parents didn't have a lot of money. I don't know what that is like to be, of means, whatever. I mean, we drank powdered milk.
Yeah, same.
Growing up. I think we talked about that before.
We did, yeah.
And it's like, so me growing up, it was always, I'm going to be able to give my kids more than my parents ever gave me. And to me, that was physical things. That was, whatever I could give them.
Yeah.
What I've learned as I've gotten older, my parents gave me as much emotional support as they could. They gave me a solid faith foundation, and they gave me a belief in myself that I can do whatever I put my mind to. Right. Yeah. I may not know how to do it today, but I can learn how to do it tomorrow.
Yep.
So that's what I tell people is like, look, you do whatever you want. Go do it. Be you.
Yeah.
Nobody's stopping you.
Sure.
Nobody's holding you back. Nobody cares if you come in with tattoos all over your face and black hair and, blue hair, whatever, nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the people that are some of our biggest celebrities today, right? Where they came from, what they did, their backgrounds, what they made a choice at some point in their life that they were not going to allow the circumstances to hold them to what that past was.
And they put the work in.
Yeah.
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 Yep. I think that's great advice, man. Well, thank you so much
you.
for allowing me to do this. Thank you for being on our podcast today.
No, that's awesome.
He's laughed. He's cried.
I did both.
I've accomplished. Now I can go home and sleep well tonight.
Yeah, you did a good job. I actually thought the money thing would pull it out of me, and that was not what.
Well, I thought so too. And then when it didn't, I was like, okay, we got to dig deeper. We got to. Yeah.
Why? It's funny because I feel like I could. There's so many stories. It's weird. I had my ex-wife babysat when we were in college. She babysat for a professor, and they gave me so much crap. In a loving way, because I had so many different jobs. Like I worked at a tire shop, studying tires. I worked at managed a pizza shop, managed a McDonald's, I mean, it's like
We're cut from the same cloth,
It's
man.
like,
Yeah, I get
I
that.
did so much stuff. It's like, I think one year I remember having like 8 or 9 W-2s or something like that. It's like okay, well, you know, it was my 10 easy, 1080 easy, whatever. So anyways, no, I appreciate you wanting to come on and pushing me and having the idea of doing a, you know, flipping the script and going this route. It's been fun.
Oh yeah, it was my pleasure, man. I hope you enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
I hope everybody gleans, you know, some really good information from this, things that they can, you know, put into practice in their own life, because you've obviously had a lot of experience. You've learned a lot. And I think we're all better off if we can learn those lessons from people who've gone through those things.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is Jan Simon, and I went above and beyond.
Yeah, he did.
Real deals, authentic connections, the kind that heals from Palm Springs to Pine Top Grace. APN's network spans every place. Above Par Network, we're going above and beyond, reaching new heights. In networking realms, scaling the heights. From mixers to golf, our spirits unite. APN's the beacon, our guiding light. So here's to APN, where dreams align. In every connection, a chance to shine. Above and beyond, we'll always strive. In APN's network, we truly thrive.
Like, share, and subscribe to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. Elevate your mindset, one episode at a time.